Thanks for joining us here on the Peet Reet Show. Special guest today.
A very special guest. Big band era music, singer, actor, author, performer, and of course, Deana Martin's daughter.
And honestly, she is truly amazing in everything
on
she
her
does.
own right.
Yeah, she really is.
On her own right.
Now, she performed on his show. She was in movies, and she's doing all kinds of things right now. Welcome to the show, Deana.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
First of all, we want to pass on our condolences. We were good friends with your brother Ricci, and he passed away, of course, last August, and we're very sorry about that.
Yes, thank you for saying that. He was so sweet. What a good guy.
Yeah,
Just a doll.
He truly was. Every time I met him, I just felt like he was family.
Yeah, he had that way. Well, of course, my whole family is kind of like that. We're all that way. But Ricci was just a doll, and I was happy I had him open for me at the Foxwoods, and we had the best time. And so I have great memories of performing with him. So that was beautiful. But yeah. what a sweetheart.
Yeah, he spoke highly of you. Did you know that he made explosives when he was a kid?
Of course.
Were you doing it too?
The garden.
He blew up. Did you help him?
No, we just watched
and encouraged.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, both Dino and Dean Jr. and Ricci, they were hysterical. They were a lot of fun to be around. Great brothers.
So, needless to say, they didn't have tomato sauce that year because all the tomatoes were blown up.
Oh yeah, and the strawberries.
Oh no!
Oh no! Little strawberry pads. Those were gone. But there was one time, I don't know if Ricci told you, when he sold canned goods out in the driveway to the movie star buses that came by.
No way!
Gosh. It just all of a sudden it just popped into my into my head. It was funny. It was quite a nice life living in Beverly Hills with all my crazy brothers and sisters and a fantastic dad.
So what was it like growing up with that dad?
Well, he was wonderful. What you saw is what you got. He was kind and fun and funny. Really, really funny. But he was just a good guy. And of course, all of our friends wanted to come over and be at our house because it was a lot of fun at our house. Now imagine 7 kids, and if everyone had one friend over, you've got 14 people right there.
Yeah, exactly. And you're blowing up the garden.
Oh yeah, and we were playing tennis, which was always very nice, or in the pool, and it was just a very nice life. And of course, all the people that would come over, that was great. But something about Deana Martin and his pallies that was so beautiful, and he was cool. We all knew he was cool, and so did all of our friends.
I read an article that said that you called Sammy Davis Jr. Uncle Sammy Davis.
Uncle Sammy and Uncle Frank Sinatra, sure. Because in those, when you're a child and these people are coming over your house, it wouldn't be proper to say, "Hey, Sammy, how you doing?" And we were too close to call him Mr. Davis, so it was Uncle Sammy. But that's what we did then, and we were all so close that it was very nice.
I bet.
Now, how about Jerry Lewis?
Oh, he's still great. Yeah, growing up with Jerry, but I have to tell you, he always made me laugh. I always found him. I don't know he had that funny sense of humor, and he was just like a 9-year-old child. In fact, what did I used to say about him? He had the heart of a 9-year-old child in a jar on his desk. But when I wrote my book, Memories Are Made of This, Deana Martin Through His Daughter's Eyes, and I sent it to Jerry, and I asked him if he would read it and give me some notes, and if he would write the foreword to it. So he read the manuscript, and he called me. He said, "Deana, when do you need it?" He said, "I love the book, and I'd be happy to do it." So he wrote the most beautiful foreword to my book, and it means so much to me. And he's always looked after me.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Now, Dean and Jerry had a little bit of a rough time, but near the end they got back together again, right?
Yes, but for those 10 years that they were together, they were the hottest, most amazing comedy team ever. And all their movies and everything that they did together, the TV shows, I still to this day, when I look at some of those, I think it was Colgate Palmolive, something like that, and the shows, but they were just brilliant together.
Oh, they're my favorites.
Oh, absolutely, bar none.
Yeah, as Jerry said, they had magic in a bottle.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to hold you there, Deana, and we're going to come back with more Deana Martin on the Peet Reet Show.
And we are back with Deana Martin on the Peet Reet Show. Deana, let's get into your film career, because a lot of people didn't realize that you were in a lot of movies.
I was in some movies. Well, you know, I was trained well. I was lucky enough to have piano lessons and tap lessons and ballet lessons and acting lessons, and so it was, for me, I was an all-around, still am, of course, an all-around entertainer, because that's what people did then. Well, not that it was that long ago, but I started in plays. I went to Darlington College of Arts in England, and then came back and did TV shows, of course, and the first movie was Young Billy Young with, Bobby Walker Jr., Robert Mitchum, Chris Mitchum, David Carradine, Angie Dickinson, and we did that in Old Tucson Street up in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
I remember that movie, and
Yes?
Bobby Walker, of course, he did a part in Star Trek where he was this kind of like weird kid, right? So anytime I saw him in a movie, I thought, this guy's kind of weird. What was he like in person?
Well, you know what? He was different. Now imagine you're in Old Tucson and we're out, and it was hot out there, of course, and we're all wearing our Western gear, but all of a sudden we would look up, and at the top of a mountain, he would be sitting up there like a yogi, and he'd be meditating. He'd go, "Where's Bobby?" And he's up there. You have to send someone up to him, and he'd come down. But we had a lot of fun on that movie. In fact, I have a great photograph of, I think it's me, Bobby Walker Jr., and Chris Mitchum, and and I think are we all on the horse? All of us are on this horse.
Yeah.
That poor horse. It was a lot of fun, doing that movie. It was great. And I had blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
Angie Dickinson was amazing, but it was a fun time.
What was she like in person, Angie Dickinson?
Oh, she's fantastic. She is, and is still to this day. In fact, we just interviewed her for the documentary that we're doing for Dean Martin's centennial. We're doing a Dean Martin documentary because he was so amazing. We got to interview Florence Henderson and Norman Lear and Bob Newhart and Angie Dickinson and George Slaughter from Laugh-In and all of that. So we're in the midst of doing that now, and Tommy Tune and Frankie Avalon. So that's going to be a beautiful, beautiful documentary that we're doing for him.
Sounds fantastic.
We interviewed Rich Little a little while back, and he just absolutely loved your dad. Thought he was funny too.
Oh, I know. Rich has come on my show a few times when he's in the audience, and he'll come up and sing back up for me. Or he's actually performed in a couple of my shows in Vegas, and that was he's hysterical.
Yeah.
He really is.
And still sharp as a tack too.
I know.
Yeah, amazing.
So let me ask you, did your dad overshadow your career at all? Did you find it difficult to move ahead?
No, not at all. It was, we were taught well, and I think that, first of all, I knew from a very young age, he was Dean Martin. Who could be bigger than that? So that was, for me, it was a plus. I think it was, fantastic. And to be named Deana Martin, so that's always a plus right there. But I knew what I was doing. I practiced my craft, and Dad taught us well. And so I would get out there, and I know because people did love Dean Martin, and I've never met anyone who didn't, think he was just amazing. It was wonderful for me. I just knew I had to get out there and give him a great show. And now, what is wonderful is after the shows, when people come to see me and they come for a CD or a book after the show, and they say, Deana, it was a fantastic show. You know, I'm your dad's #1 fan, but now I'm your #1 fan. So that it's great. So it's been a lot of hard work, and hard work pays off.
And it shows in everything.
Definitely does show. I love that some of the people that you've performed with, or musicians, talk about you, and they say that you're like a definitely precious sweetheart, and that you're a light in the room when they walk in.
Oh, that's great to hear. Isn't that nice?
Isn't it?
Yes, it really is. And I have to say, in fact, this last album, Swing Street, that came out a couple months ago, we did completely everything at Capitol Studios in Studio A, where my dad recorded, so many of his hits.
Very cool.
In fact, I was at the his first #1 hit. I was there with my mom in Studio A when he recorded Memories Are Made of This. And that's why I called the book Memories Are Made of This. But I sat there and watched him when I was a little girl. I said, I think I've got to do that. And he had 3 backup singers, the Easy Riders, and they sang, sweet, sweet, the memories you gave to me, sweet, sweet. And so in my show, I recreate Capitol Records, 1950-something, and I asked for 3 volunteers from the audience, and they come up, and they're my backup singers.
That's fantastic.
So it's really fun. It's a great show. And hopefully you'll be able to come see it sometime, and I'll be near you.
We would love to come see you. Absolutely. We're going to hold you there because I want to learn more about your Swing Street album, because I've listened to some of it. Amazing. So we're going to hold you there, and we'll come back on the Peet Reet Show with Deana Martin.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Nel blu, dipinto di blu, felice di stare lassù, e volavo, volavo, felice più in alto del sole and ancora.
Welcome back to the Peet and Reet Show. What a pleasure talking to Deana Martin. But you know what? You know what her brother was like? She's the same. They're both bubbly. They're energetic.
You can tell, right? You can see the family, dynamic in that, and you can hear it in their voices.
They got Dean's genes, for sure.
That's exactly right. That's cute. That's cute.
Well, I want to talk about your new CD, Swing Street. Like I said before, I listened to some of it, and oh my gosh, you gave me complete goosebumps on a couple of the songs. And I love watching the video with you and the guys in the studio.
Yeah. Well, singing Bellissima?
Yes, that was the one.
What a fun song that is. But I bet did you like Tennessee Whiskey?
Yes.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yes, it is. But
there are some beautiful arrangements on here with Patrick Williams being the conductor and arranger. He wrote 5 of the songs with incredible people, and of course Chris Walden, who did New York State of Mind, and a lot of the songs on here. But what a thrill it was for me to be in Capitol Studios with all of those musicians, and with Al Schmidt is the engineer, who has I guess maybe 22 Grammy Awards. And all of the people there at Capitol, it was just a phenomenal experience. And it was filled with joy, because people all wanted to work with me. I wanted to work with all of them. And it was, like a love fest every day. And what a joy. And for me, to see all the photographs up and down the halls at Capitol Studios.
Yeah, we saw those.
With, Bobby Darin and Uncle Frank and Uncle Sammy and Nat King Cole and Peggy Lee. These are all the people that I learned from growing up. So it was, it's in my DNA. It's, as you said, it's in the genes.
Yeah, definitely.
Dean's genes, for sure.
I love that you can do like Georgia on My Mind, and then right into New York State of Mind. Just the difference in those tunes alone shows how versatile you are and what you do.
In the range.
Yes, thank you. But you know what? It's I remember asking my dad if I could have voice lessons. He said, "Why? You want to sound like everybody else in the choir?"
Yeah.
Yeah, so true.
And he said, "Find your own voice." And I did. But then Frank Sinatra, Uncle Frank, is the one who really gave me my first singing lesson, so to speak. I said we were going to do a number on Dad's TV show. And I said, "So, Uncle Frank," because we're standing in the wings, I said, "How do you do it? How do you get that great tone? How do you sing?" He said, "Deana, it's all about the air." He said, "I take in a big breath, I push from the diaphragm, and I can tell even before a note comes out if I'm going to be on pitch or not." I said, "Really? Does my dad do that?" He says, "No, your father has no idea what he's doing. He's a natural." I said, "Yeah, I guess so." He was a natural. But, I learned from the very best.
Now, you were on the show, and of course, everybody says that your dad didn't rehearse. He would stand back and watch, see what was going on, and only wanted to go on when he was ready to go. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. In fact, Lee Hale, who was his musical director, Lee Hale is the one who would stand there with an index card on his chest that said Dean. And so all week, he was the one who would run through all the skits. He's the one who would sing the numbers with Peggy Lee or with Ella Fitzgerald. And Dad, when he signed that contract for NBC, because he really didn't want to, he didn't want to do TV. You know, in those days when he signed that contract, you were either a TV star or a movie star. And he was a movie star at that time. So he said, "I'm going to ask for a ridiculous amount of money, and they're probably just going to turn me down." So he went in the next day to NBC, spoke with them, and he said that he wanted a ridiculous amount of money, and that he didn't want to rehearse, and he only wanted to do the show on Sunday afternoon after he played golf. And they said, "Okay."
It's nice to have some pull.
Yeah, they wanted him, and it was amazing for all those years. But he would go in after he knew his songs, and he would run through, the songs he was going to do with Les Brown Band of Renown, and he would go look at the cue cards and put on his tuxedo, go out and do a show. Amazing.
Now, are you like that?
No, I'm a rehearsal person.
Yeah.
I need to know everything so that I can make it look like it's easy.
Yeah.
And so I like to know what I'm doing. So I am well rehearsed, and then I get up and then I can take liberties. But I learned from my dad to always keep it light and spontaneous, and make it look easy, and enjoy myself.
And love what you do.
The audience in, and that's I remember watching my dad at the Sands Hotel when I was very little, and he just would pull you right in. The audience was just like, there he is, it's Dean Martin.
Well,
And he was cool, and he was funny, and he sang, and it was beautiful. And I said, "Yep, that's what I'm going to do."
And you're doing it well.
Yeah. I think the key
thank you.
I think the key to Dean is he was like your buddy next door, like your good
Yeah.
neighbor, right? And he just brought you in, and it was like you're sitting with your pal there.
Yeah, exactly. And, that's why on Thursday nights at 10 o'clock, everybody was glued to their television sets.
Mm-hmm.
They'd watch Dad and the Gold Diggers and the Dingling Sisters. And he could get up and dance with Juliet Prowse or Sid Charisse, and he could do it all. And he loved, he loved singing with the Mills Brothers, or with Ella Fitzgerald or Peggy or Goldie Hawn. He made everybody on the show feel comfortable, which was really an art in itself.
Well, he was a golfer, and there's a guy up here who's a famous executive producer who actually executive produced Hockey Night in Canada, which is a big show in Canada for the NHL. And he also produced shows in the States. He did a lot of the Christmas shows with Andy Williams. But when your dad came into Detroit, they asked for Ralph Mellenby to come down and golf with your dad, because he only wanted to golf with certain people.
Yeah, Dad was a very good golfer. In fact, he said to me one day, he said, "Deana," he said, I work so I can pay for all you kids and play golf.
Are you a good golfer?
I am a good golfer. I have a good swing. I would go to the driving range with Dad in L.A. and watch him hit bucket after bucket of balls, and he would put his arms around me and show me how to hold the golf club, and he'd say, "Now bring back, don't bend your arm, keep your arm, and swing through the ball." And at home, he would walk around with club in his hand because he was always practicing his grip.
Oh, I thought maybe you guys were being bad.
Blowing up the garden.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
Anybody following in the footsteps in your family?
No. I've got a football player and maybe a designer, but actually, our granddaughter Berlin is quite the dancer and singer, so she's probably, but she's only 4. I think I think that she probably has the bug.
Well, Deana, thank you so much. Your father left a great legacy, obviously, because we see it through you and through your brother. And we're so glad that you were able to take the time to speak to us today.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you very much. And keep up the good work. I know how difficult that is to do, doing all these shows. And but you guys do a great job, and I appreciate what you're doing. So thank you very much.
And much success to you in the future as well.
Thank you. All right. Well, you're going to come sing the Sweet, Sweet, the memories you gave to me.
Sweet, sweet, the memories you gave to me.
Okay, you'll be perfect. You'll be perfect. All right.
Thanks, Deana.
We'll book a show near you.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Deana Martin on the Peet Reet Show. What a
That was, she's amazing.
Yeah, exactly like her brother.
Exactly. And her dad.
And her dad's, obviously. Listen, join us next time on the Peet Reet Show. Until then, have yourself a great day, a good evening, a great week. God bless you all.